The next Bitcoin move will be towards the upside, and in today's video I am unveiling exactly why this really matters for Bitcoin and why the upside is about to come. If we look at the lower time frame, a major trade setup is unfolding for Bitcoin. We will dive exactly in what we want to see and what we will expect next for Bitcoin. We are still at major 12-year support, which is huge for Bitcoin. Also, if you look at some other data, things are getting really good here. But first of all, before we dive right away into the data, please make sure to follow me over on X, and I would really appreciate you guys to subscribe over on my YouTube channel and like this daily update video if you love those updates. And let's dive right away into the content, because what we can see is just a really basic chart here, but this chart tells you exactly why Bitcoin is still very bullish. This is just a clear trend market structure chart for Bitcoin. And what does that mean? For other people who don't know what the market structure is, it is a trend. So what does that mean? If Bitcoin is trending towards the upside, you of course want to buy Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin want to swap the trend towards the downside, you might sell your Bitcoin and take some profits. And if you look at this chart, what we can see is that Bitcoin is still in a major uptrend. Every single time, right over here, when people thought we were dumping, we just created a new higher low to eventually move towards the upside and create a new higher high. And that is exactly what we are expecting right now. Because from 2022, we have been creating a lower high, which is a bearish signal, because that means that the Bitcoin price is going down with the trend. Then we put in a lower low, that's even a worse sign. But after that, before breaking this structure towards the upside, we need to gain that lower high here, and that's exactly what we have been doing in 2023. And ever since then, Bitcoin was trending towards the upside. So this is how a clear uptrend looks like here. That is a higher low and a higher high after, and higher low and a higher high after. And if you look at the Bitcoin price, that is exactly what we have been doing for the past years here. So we created a new higher high, higher low, higher high than this high we have been setting right over here. That is exactly what we have been seeing. Higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And in this whole trend towards the upside, it was really important to stay above every single higher low to continue the trend towards the upside. Because if you're breaking that higher low towards the downside, you are shifting the trend in a bear market. But right now we are seeing that that higher low is just getting created for Bitcoin. And as every single time in the past of Bitcoin, we expect just a new higher high after, and that means that Bitcoin will put in a new all-time high, but come also above this high we have been setting right over here at the $125,000. Also, an interesting thing, this low will determine everything about Bitcoin's next move. We can drop towards it and get supported by it. That is approximately the $80,000. But I also want to mention here is if we break this low towards the downside and we are retesting it, we will probably end up in a bear market here and we will see more downside for Bitcoin. But for now, it is really important to look at the data we have right now, and we are just seeing a clear range above this higher low here, which stays a really good signal for a higher low and also a very good signal for the next move towards the upside for Bitcoin. Then, if you look at the lower time frame, we took a really big hit, but the opportunities are coiling here for Bitcoin. We have been tapping in this lower side support of this range, which is a really interesting level. I've said, if we can manage to break structure towards the upside right here, a really good long unfolds in the market. But still, we haven't seen that signal. For me, we need to see a break above this blue line, and that means a candle open and a candle close for Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Right now we are rejecting it, which is not a good signal, which could lead for a liquidity grab above and then maybe a next move towards the downside. For me, it is really important to see a Bitcoin gain, a candle open and close above this blue line, then a retest, and on the retest we can open up a long position towards either the $94,000 or even the drop-off point of $95,000. Of course, right now it's Friday, tomorrow it is weekend once again. The volume and the volatility will be pretty low, so usually I want to open up these positions on Monday because in the weekends it is just really tricky. So for me, the scenarios right now is just a gain towards the upside, a clear gain, and a next further move towards the upside. If we are seeing that, I'm opening up my next long position. If we manage to break further towards the downside, of course we can short Bitcoin also towards new lows, and that is how we work here in the market. We can long Bitcoin and short Bitcoin. But one thing for sure, if something unfolds in the market, please make sure to follow me over on X and to subscribe over on my YouTube channel, because if a setup unfolds in the market, I'm discussing it right over on my X page and over in these daily update videos. And of course, you can always join my free community with the first link in the description. And it's completely free, and I'm keeping you posted about every single thing in the crypto market right there. Then also, if we look at some bullish charts here, we can see that Bitcoin is still getting supported by this 12-year support. So ever since 2013, Bitcoin hasn't been breaking this support zone towards the downside, and that means that every single time we tapped into that zone, Bitcoin started towards the to move towards the upside. We've seen it right over here, we have seen it right over here, right over here, and right over here, and right now we are just getting supported by it once again. A really good signal if you ask me, and the moves we have seen getting created from off this support line aren't small, and this could lead for a major money flow back in Bitcoin, because this is a huge signal for either institutions and entities to scale in Bitcoin. And that is exactly what they have been doing right over here, right over here, and right over here. And that's exactly what I think will happen right now. Of course, the price action is very choppy, volume is pretty low, but these are the real moments that institutions and entities are just scaling in their Bitcoin. Because if you look at this range we have been doing here for over the past few months, we have been ranging in a price of approximately 10%. So that means that institutions and entities have been freely accumulating Bitcoin. And if you look at this range, we have been mostly being on the lower side of this range. That means that they have a really good entry in the market. And this is the real base for the next major move towards the upside for Bitcoin. And that is just massive. If you want to trade Bitcoin by yourself, please make sure to do that over on your favorite exchange. You can find the links in the description. If you want to trade over on WeX or over on Blowfin, you will have the best trading circumstances over on these exchanges. And with the setups I'm giving you, we can really crush the markets together. So please make sure to do so. Then if you look at some on-chain data, we can actually see what is not a really good signal here is that the ETFs are flowing out, and that's not a really good signal. But also, if you look at the history, this could lead for a shorter term downside, but this could also lead for a longer term upside, because what we saw yesterday is over 700 million exited the Bitcoin ETF, and that is the largest outflow since the November 2025 crash. And that is not a really good signal to see, to be really honest. But short-term selling pressure is just elevated. But for the long-term trend, this doesn't really mean. What we really want to see right now is, of course, we can see that outflow for now, that is okay, but we really want to see that buybacks getting created, because what people need to see and need to understand, on January 12, right over here, we bought really back into Bitcoin about $1 billion, and right now we are seeing the exact same outflow. So we're just even. Right now we just need to see a big day of inflows here, and we are still back, and the Bitcoin ETFs just looks really, really good. Also, although if we look at this whole chart, we can see that right over here the activity was pretty high, and right now the activity is really, really low. So overall, we just need to see some more ETF pressure towards the upside for Bitcoin, and if we see so, we can literally move exponential towards the upside, I believe. For now, no signals of that yet. We need to keep an eyes close on this chart to really see the rotation coming for the Bitcoin ETF. Ending with that, I would really appreciate you guys to follow me over on X, and of course subscribe over on my YouTube channel. And if you love those daily update videos, I would really appreciate you to like those daily update videos, and I will see you tomorrow by a brand new Crypto Daily Update video.